Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lavi and this is Lavi's Crave. If you're coming to see my videos for the very first time, I'd like to crave your indulgence to click on the subscribe button so you can see my other videos as soon as I release them. And if you're my usual subscriber, thank you for coming back. So today I'll be talking about the possible pathways that you can go through to secure a scholarship to study in Australia. So if you've been thinking about studying overseas and you've been looking at countries like Australia, this is the right place for you to be at this moment. So I'll be telling you about some of these possible ways you can go through to get a scholarship to study. So first of all, I'll just tell you about those benefits of coming to study in Australia. So number one, Australia is the third most popular international student destination in the world, and Australia is gradually taking over countries like the UK and the United States as the most, the most favorite place for students to study in the world. And number two reason why you should study in Australia on a scholarship. Australia is currently home to nearly 700,000 international students. Yes, that's the fact. So Australia is nearly home to 700,000 international students around the world, and it's a highly multicultural society here in Australia. So it's a good opportunity for you to explore the world and see the culture of other people while you study. So the number three reason why I'll encourage you to take on this scholarship opportunities is because 7 of the best student cities in the world are in Australia, and this includes cities like Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, and even Tasmania. And the number four reason why you should study in Australia is because the Australian government has invested over 300 million Australian dollars in scholarships for international students. Yes, you hear that right. The Australian government invests heavily in scholarship opportunities for interested international students who wants to come to Australia for their study. So the Australian government, like I said, they invest heavily in scholarship opportunities for overseas students who wants to come over to Australia to study, especially countries which Australia as good international relationship with. Now I'm going to talk about one of those avenues the Australian government has heavily invested in for scholarship opportunities for overseas students to come and study in Australia. So the one I'll be talking about today is the Australian Awards. So you after this video, I'll put up the link. You can go through to see more information about these Australian Awards. So Australian Awards is put up by the Australian government to encourage international students for undergraduate and postgraduate studies. The Australian Awards was put in place by the Australian government majorly for African countries, so the interested youths there can come over to Australia to study. And the Australian Award is also financed by the Australian government's Department of Foreign Trade and Affairs. The Australian Awards is targeted to give the next generation of global leaders an opportunity to undertake study, research, and professional development in Australia. And the priority sectors under the Australian Awards include agricultural productivity, extractives, and public policy. So if you studied along the line of these three major fields, you are encouraged to go ahead and apply for this Australian Awards for a scholarship to come and study in Australia. One of the eligibility of the Australian Awards is that it's targeted at mid-level to senior level professional presently employed in a relevant area, in the African countries that have been shortlisted over time. And also they need to satisfy relevant postgraduate work experience conditions to be able to be eligible for these Australian Awards. So I'll be talking about those countries that are beneficiaries of this Australian Awards. So there's a list of countries in Africa that are eligible for these whose citizens are eligible for the Australian Award. So you can see there we have citizens of any of these African countries are eligible to apply for the Australian Awards. We have Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Uganda, Somalia, Nigeria, Tanzania, Mozambique, Senegal, Rwanda, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Zambia, and Namibia. There are also other eligibility criteria that you as a recipient or as a prospective recipient of the Australian award needs to fulfill. To be eligible for the Australian award, you need to be a minimum of 18 years of age. You must also be able to satisfy the admission requirements of your proposed institution. So you don't necessarily need to have an admission at the time you're applying for the award, but they expect that you'll be looking at some universities, that you looking to apply to. So you must be able to satisfy the requirements for admission set up by that university, as well as gaining your scholarship, for this study. Also, you must have a recent English language test and the English language test as well, with the pen on the requirements of the university you're applying to. Also, you must not be a citizen of Australia or hold a permanent resident in. Also, you must not be a citizen of Australia or hold a permanent residency visa in Australia. So that's just one of the eligibility criteria for you if you're looking to apply for these Australian awards. When you apply for these Australian awards, I'll tell you about the benefits you get from being a recipient if your application gets successful. So some of the benefits will include full tuition fees, return air travel. So your tuition fees will be fully paid by the Australian government if you're successful in securing this scholarship. You have a return air travel to and fro from Australia to your country and back after your studies. There's a contribution to living expenses from the Australian government as well. There's an introductory academic program if you'll be needing it for your studies. They'll also pay for your overseas student health cover. So this is all inclusive in the Australian Awards scholarship. They'll also pay for your initial visa expenses. Yeah, all this will be settled by the Australian government, and awardees are provided with a once only establishment allowance of 5,000 Australian dollars on arrival in Australia. How good is this? Yeah, so these are the many benefits that you get if you're successful in securing the Australian award to come and study in Australia. So now we're talking about targeted courses that the Australian government has put in place for people looking to apply for this scholarship. But depending on your country of origin, yeah, that will really determine the level of postgraduate scholarship or undergraduate scholarship or program you can use this scholarship for. So like I said, depending on your country, you may be able to put in for vocational education and training courses. So this will include diploma courses or certification courses, short-term courses. This is not available to citizens of every country. Yeah, it depends on your country of origin. So you need to go on the website and check the eligibility criteria of your country, before you apply for the scholarship. So targeted courses also include a bachelor degree undergraduate courses. So again, it's not every citizen of those African countries that apply for a bachelor undergraduate degree. You also need to check the eligibility of your country. So there's master degree courses and there's doctorate degree, PhD courses, programs that you can apply for under the scholarship scheme. So now I'll be talking about the documents required. So what are those documents you need to get together when you're applying for this scholarship opportunity? So you'll be looking at getting a certified copy of your degree certificate, also a certified copy of original formal academic transcript, a certified copy of a citizenship document, and a certified copy of your original birth certificate. So you may also look at getting your curriculum vitae, that's your CV, briefly detailing your work experience and responsibilities. So also other documents you'll be required to get will be a reference report, majorly from an employer, or if you're in the academic environment, we'll be looking at somebody that's supervised your project over time. So you'll also be looking to get a certified copy of original English language tests results. So you need to sit for either the IELTS, PTE, or TOEFL, depending on the requirements of the course you're applying for. You also need to submit a statement to demonstrate a clear vision of how the knowledge gained through the scholarship will be used to improve policy, practice, or reform in your own country. because you are expected to return to your country after your study, to put into practice uh, those things you've learned during your study in Australia. Yeah, but then you can choose to return to Australia after 2 years, after your graduation. After your graduation, you need to return to your country of origin, to work for a while, put those lessons or, new experiences you've gained into practice. But after 2 years, if you fell in love in Australia and you like to return, yeah, this is permitted. So I'll put up the link for the websites in the description box. Just get onto the website now and have a look. So there's a certain period of the year when applications are open, so it's really good for you to take note of this date if you're looking to apply for this scholarship opportunity. And I can tell you it's a very good one. I encourage you to have a look if you're looking to study in Australia on a full scholarship. So aside from the Australian awards, there are other scholarship opportunities you can look at if you're looking to study in Australia, especially if you're looking to study for a research program. Universities in Australia have their own scholarship board, depending on the course you study and the level at which you're studying. Yeah, there are so many different scholarship out there. There will be a scholarship that covers the whole of your tuition throughout your time of study, especially if you're doing a research program. So I'll be telling you about some of these scholarship opportunities you may like to look into. So there's the Melbourne Research Scholarship that's offered by the University of Melbourne, and there's also the RMIT Research International Tuition Fee Scholarship. So this will cover like the whole tuition or your whole tuition while you're studying for a research program. And there's the University of Sydney International Strategy Scholarship as well, and there's the International Postgraduate Research Students Scholarship. So these are worth looking at, and there are also many scholarships out there. You just need to jump on the university website, and after you've gained an admission, you had a supervisor, you can follow up on applying, information on applying for these scholarship opportunities. They are real, they are out there. Like, people come into the country every year to study, funded by these scholarship opportunities. So I just want to tell you, you just have to be, put on a can-do attitude. Do not give up if you're looking to study for a scholarship. And I want you to remember that you need to believe all things are possible and impossibility is nothing. So if you're really keen on studying overseas, especially in Australia, you're looking for scholarship opportunities, I don't want you to give up. Just keep at it. Look, you need to be very proactive. Get on the internet, look up information, and I hope to see you in Australia very soon. So thank you so much for coming around to see my video. If you like the content of the video, give me a thumbs up and also give me suggestions on what you'd like to see in my next videos. Thank you for coming around, and remember to click the subscribe button before you log out. See you in my next video. Bye.